Good morning, everybody. What are we doing? We're back to coffee talks in the morning with Corey. So, good morning. By the time this uploads, because of my internet speed, it's probably afternoon or night. Don't want to project that, but I just know shit. Right? So, good morning. Welcome in. Welcome all. Man, we're gonna go into some vulnerability today. I guess I don't have a cigarette with me. Well, things happen for a reason. Um, yeah, right now the stages of awakening and of ascension, especially with the timeline review that's going on right now. Um, while it is fast paced and it is extremely accelerated, there's these moments of wondering how low have we gone in this lifetime and in other lifetimes, and how much room for growth do we have, right? So a part of molecular expansion that's happening even in my own life is that it is bringing up all of the most terrifying details of my own reality, and of my own consciousness that my body holds on to and that my mind holds on to. And as a result, the quickening or the acceleration of the path causes for gigantic amounts of purging in a very short amount of time. When we have squeeze point windows, such as October is, if you can think of 2 points on a map. So this is, I guess, for the sake of this discussion, it is kind of a linear way of looking at it, but it's non-linear in its approach. Is like, let's say the gap from point A to point B is 100 miles in length, right? And in an acceleration point, right? Let's say that in that 100-mile stretch, you're supposed to be making 6 different stops, right? 6 different stops for 6 different learning lessons, right? So a lot of my journey with my life as of recently is in regards to travel. And I actually see it for how we're pushing through timelines and how we're pushing through all of the old cellular programming. So let's say that there's a 100-mile stretch that I'm supposed to do, and I'm supposed to make 6 stops, each stop having a lesson or a timeline that I need to clear. Well, what we do is we take that 100-mile stretch that was supposed to happen in, let's say, in 3 days' time, and we accelerate it to the point of doing that in about 2 hours, right? So then, as a result, it's almost like this little wormhole is built to shift through a lot of stuff very, very, very quickly. And so what we're constantly doing is we're being catapulted or pushed into the next stage. And as a result, the wobble starts to come up. So in my own life, I've been dealing with this wobble where there's no real firm footing in any dimensional bandwidth or space because you're not meant to root or to ground into that. So then there's a lot of isolation, review, and unknowing, right? So a part of that unknowing, the unknown is that in every day, you don't know what you're doing, which is good. It detaches the mind, right? The mental faculties can't exist in that space. And so you lose your noggin and you drop more into your heart and more of your light comes on. But a lot of that uncertainty starts to prepare you for what is to come next, yet it's not here yet, and it hasn't been materialized or manifested into form. And so for myself, it requires a lot of really deep feeling, deep mourning, and also losing my ever-loving frickin' marbles just to be able to navigate through those portals and passageways. Last night's full moon clearing was absolutely intense. I highly recommend people try it sometime. I think we're all going through it at a collective level. So individually speaking, right now, we're very much so, if we've been propagating or propagated into, depending on your viewpoint, because it is a perspective-based reality, into the lower dimensional timelines and the lower dimensional framework, you're getting pushed out right now. And it hurts. Emotionally, physically speaking. It's been quite a painful journey, but painful in the sense that it is death of old memory and awareness of old thought forms and how they have been affecting us in our world, collectively and individually. But to state this, that I right now recognize how lost I've been in my own life and in my own way. There was a great shift that I had to go through. I had to, my part of my conscious journey was to awaken various aspects of my soul gifts, okay, and my soul remembrance. I had to lose a lot to get back to that place of knowing who I am at a soul level. And as a part of this stretch of consciousness, I'm completely getting obliterated right now. And I know many others are as well. And it really is about, especially when the polarity can no longer exist, what we are caving, right? And kind of giving way to is we're giving way to polarity and a rise in consciousness. So if we see it from the level and framework that I'm losing a piece of my old self, okay? If I'm losing a piece of my old self, but I'm awakening this new self within me, right? What is this new self? And that's a question point that we don't have to hold on to because it's everything. It's not fixed to just one thing. It's many different things. And the fact that many of us, including myself, put the label on that it has to be or to become anything is completely wrong. It actually doesn't need to become. It just needs to belong, and it needs to be allowed to be within the form and expressed through the form, because that's just what the consciousness is. Now, some of us, feel like in the ideologies of these systems and beliefs that, okay, so this aspect is here, it now must become something. It must have a job, or it must have a duty, right? It must have a role, which is very, it's comparable to clarifying what it is and what it does and what its functionality is, which is a different concept. But a lot of the labels that have been coming up, even for myself, is what is it here to do to make money, right? So especially being a spiritual-based business owner, and using these aspects of me to provide content and clarity for the collective and for humanity. That's the way that I wear my hat, right? Is like which direction does it go? How does it turn? How does it format? How does it work? What's the navigation point? What's the talking point, right? And so to move forward with this, yeah, I know that's coming up. Thank you. We can clear that. To move forward in this way is that sometimes it feels like it's a pause or a standstill. And that's very much so how it feels here. And a part of what I have to be mindful of, just to get personal and real here, is that, because I know this will assist others as well, is making the comparisons, right? Is why aren't I there yet? Like, because it's interesting, when we're waking up in waves, okay, here's how I put this. When we're waking up in waves, everyone who's got a very different perspective-based reality, everyone's got a different hologram that's awakening at different times, is having their own experience. And so what happens is I see myself having this experience of feeling lost, right? Like not knowing where I'm going. Welcome to being a way shower. There is no trail. You're burning the trail. I don't want to burn the trail anymore. Is to see where other people are, right? Is to see where other people are and start to make comparisons. The comparison is such a deadly part of the journey, because then it starts to invoke anger, rage, and things like jealousy, right? When we start to make those comparisons, it's either going to invite in the hierarchical structure where you're like, oh, I'm here and they're there, or you start to feel less than, right? Creating that separation and divide. It's that division that we need to quit playing in. The division of I'm here and they are there, right? In some, one is better or less than. Because at the end of the day, it's about experience, right? And like, it's really about what our higher self is orchestrating for us in this now moment, for us to be able to gain the greatest level of clarity that we can over our life path and over our purpose and over our soul's mission here and now. So whether that's you are working through some deep trauma, whether you are caught in some light worker drama, or whether you're having a fight with your mama, right? All of those experiences right now are necessary for what passageways we're moving through right now. That is October. This is a finalization of Judgment Day. and review in my own life. And as a result, it's just clearing a lot of past life shit. And it's like, that's my only job? So just clear past life shit? Yeah. And integrate the light. Okay. All right. How do I make money doing that? Don't worry about it. But guys, we still live in an economy. We still live in these, in this system where we have to pay our way. How do we do that? Don't worry about it, right? And that's really a part of the 3D experience and the acceleration point of self-care and self-nurture that we all have to become one with, right? Is we won't know how, right? Because what we're doing is we're trusting in the divine pathway and in the divine plan. And in that trust, some things we're not meant to know right now because we're in the learning stage, right? We're not in the mastery stage where we just know it all. We're in the learning stage, in the remembering stage of awakening a higher level of consciousness from within through the experience that we're walking through. Whether you're alone and isolated, whether you're solo dolo, or you are, you're out with your friends and your sisters and your family and your brothers and you're living the best version of yourself, whatever it might be. Either way, it's, can we allow the experience itself to offer us the insight that we need without having to feel guilty of doing something that we didn't do or that we're doing something wrong because we're awakening. Because the awakening in the ascension pathway, okay, is there are moments where we have to go through a lot of different things, a lot of different experiences. We have to strip down everything to become vulnerable again, right? Because that's the raw essence of us, is that vulnerability. It's a little bit of I am lion, hear me roar, but it's a lot more right now. I am lion and I am really, really tired and really worried because I got a thorn in my paw, And that's the thing, is that's now comes back into the mindful stages of where do we place our feet, where we go, where do we land, how do we navigate, who do we connect with, how do we connect as, what level of consciousness are we coming from, right? And what are we allowing in our reality? The term no more has been a completely profound way of witnessing the reality and what we're consciously choosing based upon our belief systems and that which we hold. So one level is, let's go deep and we'll dive deep into the shadow work. And another level too is just consciously observing what's going on within humanity or within our own lives and saying, hey, I don't want to be a part of that anymore. My job is done there. Washing my hands of that one. Especially when it comes to archetypes such as the hero and the hero's journey, which is very much so coming to a close, right? There's a lot of division that we all have to clear to get to that place of true oneness when we're choosing that consciously as an experience in our ascension process. All of humanity is awakening. Everyone's coming into oneness perspective. Everyone's coming into greater clarity of who they are. Everyone's walking forward on their journey as the new. Now, as a result, though, where does that take us? Where do we go? How do we ignite our passion and purpose through that? It really is through that journey of bringing everything back to love. Yep, bringing everything back to love. Even I felt the resistance saying that, because it was one of those things. I went through a phase where I was always been a love kid. Always been a love kid. But I allowed certain people's perceptions and realities to make me think that something was wrong with me by believing in love and the healing power of love and the healing pathways of love. And it was wrong for me to allow that to affect me. And now as a result, there was a lot of experience of really deep-seated fear and resentment that had to come to the surface, right? A really deep level of purification. And now it's really about taking a step back and observing, how can I begin to witness my experience through the eyes of love again and begin navigating out of those 3D and 4D trajectories of 3D to me is all PTSD and 4D is just all illusion, right? It's all illusion and it's all perception. So a part of this transit point and this transition into this next stage of existence and acceleration for myself and for others is that we are really taking a moment to dial in to that bandwidth, that which we want to hold as we're experiencing so many different frequencies that are oscillating us in between different realities. And it can feel like we're an energetic punching bag at times. And at some levels, some of us kind of are, especially when we're not getting the hint, right? There's a little knocking that starts to come through. Wake up, sleepyhead, you know? It's time to get better acquainted with who you are. And it's time to get better acquainted with your soul, your soul's gifts, your soul's remembrance, and your higher self, so you can begin to shift a lot out of your world and out of your own life, right? The thing is this, is that we're here having a human experience. We're here in a human design, playing with a human blueprint, and human holographic realities. When the timelines are done and the acceleration point has finalized, we will be feeling better than we ever have. You know, I was like, oh, Jupiter's going direct. It's going to feel super expansive. I was great for a day, and then came the full moon. It was like, fuck, it's purge time. Right? And I know that once this review stage is done, that everything's going to reset, and we're going to laugh about this one day. And that has been such a key download that's been coming through over and over and over again. Corey, one day you're going to look back at this and laugh. One day you're going to look back at this and you're going to be like, wow, I can't believe I went through that. And honestly, physical reality-wise, it hasn't been that difficult. The stretch and the stress has been on the physical body, it's been on the emotions, and it's been on the thought forms. Because the thoughts cannot hold on to anything anymore. So the magnetics start to detach at greater and greater levels, and as a result, there's this swirling of the mind and of the mental scape and of the mental body that starts to just keep on. It can't go anywhere but up, right? And so it's like there's like these moments of kind of like a freak out or feeling like you're going insane, and then right when the crack occurs and the structure falls, there's an acceleration point where it jumps up. But right now, more than anything, it's like the light body and the soul, the higher self, the energy body, starts to kick into overdrive and override in accelerating the mind back into the unified field, or back into what we would call a state of God consciousness. But it's through the heart, right? So it's through those acts of love and the acts of purification that begin to stretch our awareness into why we are navigating out of some of these old realities. I have gotten some downloads and some insight that there were some realities that were propagated, and a lot of interesting things going on that we're currently shifting out of, right? And myself, not entirely sure everything that happened, and I'm not meant to know. What I'm meant to know right now is that I'm safe and I'm loved and I'm supported, even if it doesn't feel like it, right? But doing what you can to shift out of the mind right now, whether it's to go on a walk, to stay busy, talk to a friend, meditate, right, laugh, those are the things that are very much so going to help. Very much so going to help right now. So I'm going to go into an oracle reading. Got a new deck from my mom. I saw my mom yesterday. I got Kyle Gray, the Angel Guide. So as much as I want to use tarot, my guides are telling me, my universe, my soul is saying, nope, only use oracle cards right now. So we're just going to use oracle cards. We're going to use angel cards. I just want to see what message wants to come forward for the collective today. As always, we're working with freedom, free will, autonomy, and sovereignty for all, for the highest available pathway. So I want to thank everyone for coming out. Yes, Jeshua is calling the light. Been a lot of red dragon work coming along too. This morning I woke up with a bunch of red dragons outside, but I was told to speak with the angels. Yeah, transformation. So we are going through a period of the chrysalis right now. There we go. Transformation. So we are going through this period of transformation. But there's something about really enveloping the heart light again in what it is to be a way shower and a guide with an open heart and an open field. There's something about diving all in right now and allowing the flow of the universe to occur, because the way that this angel is representing itself, it looks like it's about to go for a dive, right? Like it's like we're about to go all in, right? About to go all in, or currently taking the dive. There's something about us being able to flow with the current energies and flow with the transformation rather than resist the transformation. That's going to really be really important for us. So when it comes to these times of acceleration, of awakening, of expansion, of decluttering, of clearing, whatever it is, there's something about really just diving into the flow, like diving into this. It's like a full acceptance of the experience, a full acceptance of what's moving forward for us right now and what's happening for us, rather than resisting it. The more we resist it, the more we get tumbled. And I'm seeing someone at the bottom of a lake, like just kind of because they're resisting the flow, and as a result, they're getting caught in the undercurrent and getting caught in the riptide and getting beaten up. So it really is about surrender. Surrender and transformation opens us up to flow, and it gives us the opportunity to be able to receive more guidance, more insight, more help, right? And dissolving the boundaries and the layers that are telling us that we have to do this all alone, right? It's like we're dissolving the suffocation frequency by gifting ourselves the opportunity to breathe with this new flow. So if you're feeling suffocated, you're feeling trapped, or you're feeling denied access points or denied knowing, it's for a reason, because of what's occurring. So if you release the resistance, you're going to activate a higher knowing from within you. So let go of the resistance, step forward, know that you're in a void space. You know that you're in the in-between, know that you're in transition, right? And when you open up to flow, you open up to momentum, and the momentum is going to offer you greater insight and clarity of what you can do that's highest aligned for you in this now moment, to gift yourself the opportunity to breathe again, so you don't have to feel like you're suffocating under the weight of collective garbage, or feel like you're suffocating under the weight of the world or the energetics or the expansion, right? So a part of this awareness is, if you feel like you've been blocked in awareness, that there is going to be a level of insight and truth and clarity coming forward for you, but it might not exist right now because of how things are turning and shifting. Like the tides are turning, the tables are turning, everything is moving in your favor, right? There's like new networking systems being built, and there's this offering this new, really beautiful, flourishing aspect of you to come forward and through, but it requires us to drop the resistance to the transformation. So surrender to the transformation. Yeah, here we go. Cut the cords. Cut the cords. So this might be speaking of energetic cords, but also too, it's really about detaching from the old world systems. It's about really gifting yourself the insight to say that I'm going to say no more to this. There has been, even myself, there's been a lot of cord stuff coming up in my own life. And I was like, how did my energy body and energy system get to this point, right? And it happened through neglect. It happened through not meeting my basic needs and essentials in my energy body, my energy system, but also needs. It was a result of lack of programming, right? So cords in itself, it's a disconnection from source. It's a disconnection from our light, right? Disconnection from our light teams, disconnection from our light body, and as a result, those cords start being produced. Or you also are running some sort of martyr or savior program, and you feel like you need to give your light to everyone. That's completely false narrative. So a part of cutting this cord right now is we need to start intercepting where we're still corded to old timelines, old pathways, old programming, old strategies, and to other people. So it's really now about really going within and repairing the connection to the soul, to the self, to the energy body, and repairing our connection to source. So we're working in harmony with our pillar. Because it's like basically kind of, some of us might have stepped out of our pillar of light for a little while because we had to go deep into our void. We had to go deep into our BS. We had to go deep into the womb. We had to go deep into clearing that patterning. So right now, what will help is get back into your pillar, right? What is your pillar, right? What is your standpoint on being the light and not giving in? Because there is a lot of negativity stirring through the collective. And as we know, misery loves company. People will want to pull you into their pain body. People will want to pull you into the traumatic patterning to keep living that life out again. There's a lot of people that go through and they dive into the resolution of trauma. They dive into the resolution of their pain. They go in and they feel it. Some people don't want to go that deep. And I've gone through this myself, where there's aspects of me where I don't want to go that deep. And so as a result, we loop and keep those systems alive because it's still feeding something within us. Patterns of neglect, patterns of abandonment, patterns of fear of the future, even if it's a beautiful future, right? That's what keeps us out of our pillar. Because for some reason, when we are going through this, earthquake, shake, it's that there are people that have ulterior motives that want to pull people into the propagation of those 3D and 4D realities. Why? Because it's safe and comfortable there, because it's illusory and they're safe in that illusion and their ego likes it. Their mind is still holding on to it and their body is still receiving something from it. So there are people that have a lot of sadistic programming and things like that. And as a result, when the sadist stuff starts to come in and all of those the darker tonalities that keep those systems alive, people will try to pull people down. Why? Because it creates a battery point for that timeline to stay open and active. And the more people we get propagating that timeline, the more that those realities stay alive. And those realities are crumbling right now. So we have to start making the choice. Am I going to give in to the 3D and 4D realities, or am I going to nature and nurture and love myself into those easier 5D timelines? Because those realities are getting disrupted right now. They're getting dismantled, and it's get harder and harder to play. And when you're in those realities and you're navigating them, right? If your life is getting harder, it's because it's a catalyst to get you into a higher framework. When we're traveling from third dimension to fifth dimension, or old world to new world, right? We don't want to start going backward. As a result, when we're pulling backward, it's going to get louder to push us further. So the momentum is always, it's non-linear. It's actually circular, in my own awareness as I see it. But it's like if we feel like we're getting pulled down, it's because the universe is really digging out all of that messiness so we can expand back into the higher trajectories. But right now, the question point for all of us is, where's your pillar, right? And how can you stand firm in your pillar today? Because when you're in your pillar and you're in that deep sacred connection to the soul, higher self, and to your light body, you're not going to be giving your light away, because you recognize how important and valuable your light is. But also, too, is you're not going to be courting to others. It's really about truly honoring your pillar, honoring your creation, and honoring your true God source light, and repairing that connection. Faith without works is dead, right? So it really is about not only having faith, but then being faith and doing as faith, right? Whether that's sitting on a couch doing nothing, watching a movie, right? Or in this transition, a part of opening up the resistance again is being able to activate that faith and not giving into the fear constructs, because the fear constructs keep propagating divide, and we need to let go of the division more and more. Fear keeps us separate. Fear keeps us isolated. Fear keeps us alone. Fear keeps us in abandonment. Fear keeps us in trauma, plain and simple. And so the more that we dig out the fear in our own reality by really going deep within those parts of ourselves that might feel nasty, and begin to love them and accept them as a part of us, we're awakening a whole new level of consciousness by arriving back to love, right? And so it might feel strange diving into some of these fears, because some of the fears are really strange, right? But it's acceptable. So in the higher timelines, it's unacceptable to be playing in those games. Okay. But for where you are at right now, if you're feeling this, it doesn't mean that you are judged. It means that it requires us to accept that that's where we're at, but we also belong somewhere else. We don't belong in those fear-based games. We don't belong in the polarity. We don't belong in the dissonance, right? We belong in love. We belong in love. Yep. No. Say no to those old realities. Say no. Say no. We belong to love. We do not belong in those timelines anymore. Right? So a part of this no is having the voice to say no. To say no, I don't want to be a part of that. No, I'm not going to play into those persecution timelines. No, I'm not going to play into that pathway anymore. No, I'm not evil. No, I'm not here to be my mother and my father. No, I'm here to awaken my soul, right? It's a part of the saying no is really taking our power back and being able to say no more, right? And that I'm glad I had the opportunity to have this experience. I'm glad I had the opportunity to be able to see and witness this. I'm glad that I had the opportunity to feel, but I don't need to do that anymore. Game's over. I'm done, right? And that's the standpoint we all have to take. It's really about how much it takes, right, for us to get to that point of no. Because for us, if we're not hearing the signs, right, the universe is going to put the pressure cooker on until it's so uncomfortable that we have no result but to say no. And at that point, we don't have to lose a lot of life force energy. We don't have to lose a lot of things. We can make that choice we can make that choice in the beginning by recognizing that when we're not going to abandon our life path if we abandon our ego. We're not going to abandon our life path if we abandon our ego. So what we're doing is we're surrendering to a higher knowing, and we're surrendering to the heart. So when we say no to this and we come back to this and we start choosing as this, right, for all of us, we're now building a bridge back up to this. It's not that this completely goes and we never listen to the voice of the ego again, but we're trying to get to higher consciousness. We're trying to get to higher mind consciousness. And it's a part of the wobble. You can think of 3D, 4D. Well, it's like 3D. The 4D is the passageway to the heart. 5D is the heart. And then we start moving up in the higher realms with activating higher mind consciousness. And that's just a way of seeing it. Don't attach to it, but it's just a way of seeing things. So any more cards that want to come through? Anything else that wants to come through? Anything else that wants to come through the oracle cards? Yeah, ease and grace. Yeah, it's really about now taking a step back into this ease and grace. It's about filling up too. Once again, this is coming back to that pillar and that standpoints of balance in this journey is what can we do to be able to propagate ease and grace in our life, right? Ease and grace comes from coming back to peace with who we are, with where we are, and beginning to dissolve all the internal resistance, right? So the internal resistance occurs because we're at some level not accepting that where we're at is perfect as we're meant to be. There's a lot of the energy of striving that happens. So when it comes to striving, right, especially when you're going from a lack-based or a fear-based reality, that's very safety mechanism approach and very coping, right? Like you're coping, you're hanging on, you're holding on. And we're beginning to walk into this remembrance of thriving, right, which is really, really good. And yeah, I know my soul is yearning for that thriving and that abundant nature, right? Is that what happens is that if the minute that we start to resist or yes, unapologetically be yourself. I agree. Thank you. The moment that you start to resist where you're at and feel like it's unacceptable being where you're at, we keep that stuck there because it creates a judgment loop on us. So a part of this ease and grace is coming back to peace, that right where I'm at is perfect for me. Some really good mantras is, yeah, right where I'm at is perfect. I belong right where I am. I stay close to my heart today. I'm a peaceful, loving, kind, caring soul. You know, I nurture the I am presence within me. Things like that are really going to help to open up to an easier life, right? Like, because at the end of the day, for myself, to very simply put, to see the navigation from 3D to 5D or from old Earth to new Earth or however you want to view it, you know, an old reality to a new reality, it's about having an easier reality. It's about having an easier time. It's really dissolving the struggle. But a part of dissolving the struggle is we have to dissolve the resistance to clearing the struggle, especially if we're used to it, right? Because like for people that have a lot of sabotage frequency or people that are really good in the trauma lines and in the disaster lines and in the chaos, to move into peace feels unfamiliar. And as a result, there's some people, and I've had this programming happen in my own life and in my own narratives, is that as I was activating more peace, it felt like something was wrong because I was coming into this mode in this standpoint of having a lot of peace. So a part of having a lot of peace is it might feel uncomfortable. Ease and grace might feel uncomfortable, especially if you're used to tragedy or you're used to trauma or you're used to drama or you're used to chaos, right? And so a part of this, you know, propagation of peace in our own lives and of ease and grace, it requires us to be able to take that moment to breathe into that place, to relax and to go, right where I'm at, I'm accepted and I don't have to judge myself with where I'm at, right? I don't have to make the comparisons, right? I can say no more to the belief system, but I can also offer myself an opportunity to be right where I'm at right now because this is where my soul designed me to be. My soul design required me to be right where I'm at right now. Even in this moment with you watching this video and me sharing this message, my soul set me up to be here right now. And so a part of this is it's like this great acceptance that like, I wonder where this will take me. If I've been through this much struggle and hardship in my life, how much better can it get? If I am the alchemist of my own design and the alchemist of my own desires, how can this experience put me into a future pathway that is going to ignite a whole bunch of beautiful realities to open up for myself? The more I've gone through, it means that the more I am called to do. The more struggle I have had in my life, the more trauma, the more drama, the more blanketing of my realities, the more blinders I've had put on. I'm really here to do some massive stuff in my reality, right? And for others and for humanity. So if I gift myself the opportunity to ushkera, to sit down for a little bit and focus on being accepted and perfect right where I'm at, which means that I don't have to change anything of my characterization. It's just a pure and utter allowing, because what we're doing is trying to drop the resistance and step into this place of right where I'm at is perfect for me. And all the details are aligning, right? I don't need to know. There is a bigger picture, there is a greater scope, there is a higher trajectory available to me. And as a result, right now, I have to act on faith. I have to act on courage and alignment, which means that when the door opens, I will go. When the light turns green, I will go. When it's time to shift, I will shift. When I need to dance, I will dance. When I need to flow, I will flow. When I need to rest, I will rest. When I need to surrender, I will surrender. When I need to shift, I will shift. When I need to navigate new, I will navigate new, and I will know what to do then. If I don't know now, I don't need to know, and that's okay. So what I have to sound out through my reality is that it is safe to be me in my vulnerability. It is safe to be in my functioning. It's safe to be in my tonality. It's safe to be right where I'm at. Whatever I'm feeling right now is perfect for me. Whatever I'm experiencing right now is perfect for me. And a part of this ascension process is sometimes the experience isn't the experience we want to have. And that's okay, because we are awakening to a new experience. That's the choice point of coming back to that no. That's that no. Is if you don't want to have that experience, say no to the experience. Because that's what a lot of review will happen too when we're under a review and life review and judgment days and the halls of justice and the halls of a mentee, and we're going through that purification, right? Because we're getting a greater access point, or we're unlocking a new level of awareness, is we're going to start to review all of those old things, right? And so it's really about us now being able to say, okay, I'm aware that this is occurring right now, but I don't need to be a part of it anymore. So we're going to clear, cancel, delete that across all time, space, time, across all dimensions, seen and unseen. And I'm going to arrive at new today. But I'm also going to gift myself the opportunity to change my frequency by stepping into the place of allowing. By saying that I release all judgment, right? I release all persecution. I release all of the timelines and the lifelines where I've been subjugated, where I've been propagating death or illusion or illness. And I'm going to begin to awaken all new into a new center point of my existence. There's a new holographic reality that is available to me here and now, and it is through offering myself the expansion of the heart, right? And gifting myself the opportunity to have an experience of love within my own self, and gifting an opportunity to receive love as well from the collective or from a person, right? Like it's really about this universal love and allowing this universal love. If you're not being recognized by others, allow the universe to recognize you and allow you to recognize yourself. So part of that recognize yourself is being able to say, you know what, I'm going to use my name here, but you know what, Corey, I see that you've been going through a lot of stuff and a lot of struggle and a lot of heartache and a lot of pain. And I want to say that I see you, I love you, I honor you, I bless you, and I forgive you, right? You're shifting and you're changing, and the control frequencies that you've been a part of and the things that you've done in this lifetime and other lifetimes, it's required a great level of resilience and stability to get to this point. If there was any other way through this, you would have done it. And the way that you're walking right now, and the way that you're being, and the way that you're shifting, the way you're dancing, the way you're flowing is perfect for you, perfect for your energy body, and perfect for your practice. So you don't have to judge who you're at or try to become something else or try to become someone else. It's about just being who you are where you're at right now and not neglecting yourself. What do you need? What are your desires? What are your concerns? Write them down. Work with them. Right? It's okay to feel, but it's also okay to feel safe in your body. It's okay to feel safe as you. It's okay to recognize that your level of normalcy is changing, right? So what's normal for one and normal for another is completely different, right? So it's really about a new level of acceptance and this ease and grace. And it's also about pliability, right? It's about resilience. It's about being able to bend and flow and mold and shift and being able to accept that, like, yeah, what I'm here to do today might not be what I'm here to do tomorrow, right? And who I was yesterday doesn't have to be who I am today, right? Because I am in transformation. I'm in acceleration, right? And so as the cocoon is getting ready for the birth and the wings are coming online more and more and more, is the butterfly I was yesterday wasn't the butterfly I was today. And while I started as the caterpillar, I'm exiting as the butterfly. That's transformation, right? just like in the design of the Phoenix. When there is a collapse, there's an expansion. And, I am, they're like, I'm hearing this right now, out loud scream it. I am done with old Earth trajectories. I'm not going to scream it because it's early here, but I'm done with old Earth, man. I'm done with the old design. I'm done with the old pathway. I'm done. I am done. And that's me saying no more. That's me saying no more, right? And so for myself and for others that are included in this, right? Welcome to the new story. Right now, it feels very uncomfortable. It does. But, right, it feels uncomfortable because we are killing off polarity. We're literally obliterating polarity. We're obliterating systems from our own body-mind field, our own consciousness, and we're now having to shift into how we view, how we work, how we dance, and how we play. That's what the new offering, the new insight is for us as a collective. It is new and it is unfamiliar, but we're getting there. And I just heard it, get with the program. It's a new start, it's a new beginning, it's a new abundant, flourishing pathway. But these things, such as, a lot of, World War II timelines, a lot of war narratives, a lot of everything going on in the collective, a lot of echo imprints and a lot of echo programs have to go. And so when it comes to echo programs, I want to state this. Take a moment to reflect on where people are keeping old aspects of you alive and aren't allowing you to transform. Because I found out the other day through some discussions that I have some people that are keeping me in echo programs, right? Well, so here's the thing. No one or no thing outside of me is keeping me anywhere. I'm holding on to that. So there's a part of an identity, an identifying factor of myself in this lifetime or in other lifetimes that I've been holding on to that I don't want to let go of, right? So a part of this is that, first off, is I found out that there's some people that are keeping an old version of me alive, right? Because it might be from fear, worry, concern, or they haven't fully accepted who I am in my transformative self. But regardless of if they see that in me regardless of whether they see that or they don't see that within me, if it's affecting me, I'm allowing it to affect me because I still believe at some level that that's who I am as an identity. And so a part of that echo in those loops is that I have to now begin to see myself in a new way. I have to write myself a new story, and I have to begin to applaud myself for who I am, for what I've done and what I've become in this lifetime and what I've done in other lifetimes right now. It really is about celebration, and it's about allowing yourself to arrive new. So there's a lot of identifying factors that are ego-based human models that need to go. Okay? And that human design, that human model, that human identity of who I was in that timeline, in that time frame, or in that reference point requires me to say, I'm sorry, I'm done. Yeah. Silly robot, get out of the way. Thank you. And and to not let myself be what I was in that timeline, right? And that's a part of that echo. It's like, and it's got this, because it's got so much polarity, it's got this static design and this static clinging technique where it's almost like a magnetic suit that you have to shift out of. And so a part of that is, especially when it comes to the cellular model, right? And I'm seeing this in awakening the crystalline DNA, and I'm seeing the muscles stretching and burning, is sometimes we have to do what we can to clear it from the body so that imprint can no longer exist. So the soul imprint, right, is one level, but if your body's holding on to the imprint and keeping that design or that loop system active, we have to begin shifting into making sure that we are purifying the vessel and we're clearing that out fully from our body, mind, field, space, so we can begin to propagate these new pathways, and we can begin to land on those new timelines, and we can begin to sit firm in our knowing that that we're that we're done, with playing in those programs and playing in those games and those systems and those designs, right? Yeah. So a lot going on. A lot going on in my life and in the collective, and we're just going to keep moving. Should we do anything else? No, I think that's about it. I've got more cards. Got some new decks too, but I'm not going to use Tarot right now. We're just going to use Oracle. So yeah, please, remember to take a moment to freshen up, right? To freshen up, to get outside, to walk in nature, get out in the sun. Um, do what you can to move through, um, to move through these passageways. Do what you can to the best of your abilities to shift, whether it's to just sit down and lay, chill, turn on a good movie, read a good book, or it's to go out for a hike or a jog or a run, or yeah, I hear you, thank you. They keep getting on me about music. They're like, you need to do music. Why don't you sample something? Do a sound bath. Do music. Yeah, I know. I'll do it, guys. Thank you. Creative expression. Do what you can to shift and move through the timelines, right? Um, Sometimes my universe has guided me to literally, I will always remember the timeline jump where I had to jump through a portal by, people are like, what? Yeah. I had a bunch of seraphim around me and I had to go run through, I had to run through traffic over a center median. It was some, and I by no means didn't have to do that. I think they were just like, let's just see if he'll freaking do it, which was ridiculous, right? But and I'm just laughing about it. But like whatever you got to do to shift through the timelines, right? Moving the physical body, dancing, push-ups, singing, playing, resting, eating a good meal, making a choice to say no more, ending a relationship, leaving a reality, choosing consciously to exit, whatever you got to do, right? Because there is a mourning, a mourning period and a grieving period when you're exiting a reality or when you're escaping a third dimensional construct, because you're feeling the loss, right? You're feeling the loss of like, oh my gosh, I can't. These friends can't be in my reality, or these people, or this relationship, or I can't talk to. There's a lot of that isolative feeling and fear that comes up, especially with all the abandonment and separation that we've gone through in 2020 and 2021, right? And so a part of this grieving cycle is allow yourself to grieve, allow yourself to feel fully, allow yourself to be new, allow yourself to shift, and give yourself the opportunity today to remember that everything you're feeling right now is perfect for right where you're at. And there's nothing wrong with feeling. There's nothing wrong with being where you're at. And it's going to take acceptance for us to shift out all of these collective timelines, especially when it comes to the Holocaust stuff. Because basically, we're just reliving a lot of survivors' guilt right now from the Holocaust. Right. So as that, we have to remember that we're not there anymore. That we're not in the 40s. Right? And even there's other timelines that coincide with that. Right now, that's the one that's coming up. That we are in 2021. We're on the way to 2022. We're stabilizing at a new baseline frequency, and we are here to end the division and to come into a unified collective approach and a unified collective standpoint of being able to stand together as one and being able to take one another again with our hearts open, and with a greater level of compassion for our experience. We can work with restriction, we can work through restriction. We can work with divide and through divide by coming back into oneness, by coming back into center, by propagating peace, by saying no more, right? By offering ourselves an opportunity to sit still and offering ourselves an opportunity to belong again, okay? Part of belonging again is we have to begin again. We have to remember what it's like. And some of those experiences we haven't fully had. So we're being asked right now to feel it within fully before it actually experiences itself in the reality and comes into materialization. So that sense of belonging, what can you do to feel like you belong today? I remember when this was happening, it was, it was, destiny. It was destiny. Shaman's light. She had a moment where she made a pillow fort. She made a blanket fort and a pillow fort for her inner child. And that's what helped her to feel safe in the body and safe with her child. And that's just a great example of doing something to belong, right? And I'm not stating that at that time she didn't feel like she belonged or anything, but it's just a great example of what we can use and what we have at our disposal to be able to feel like we belong. There might be someone you can call or someone that you recognize that you hope to speak to in the future, right? That you can start making plans to reach out to or to connect with, right? You might have an idea where your soul family is or your soul tribe, right? Like You might have an idea that this is the kind of life you want to have, right? Whatever it might be for yourself, whether it's, nomadic, right? Certain creature comforts that feel good, right? It's like, what helps you to feel what helps you to feel like you belong right now, right? And how can you give yourself the opportunity to belong to the form, belong free of identity, belong free of belief system, but also, belong in the city, state, country that you live in. But it's also, how can you feel safe in belonging to the choices that you've made in your life too? Whether you've chosen to take the Saturnalia, or you've chosen to take another life, right? Another life path. You've chosen to shift yourself into a reality that is based on a new design, right? Can you feel safe in your choice today and comfortable with who you are and how you chose, and also feel like you belong to that choice? Like you belong to that love, you belong to that resilience, you belong to that stability, and you belong to recognizing that you're a way shower and guide of your own reality. And as a result, a majority of the timelines that you're facing right now have never been created before. And so it's going to require new. It's going to require require to dissolve the fear and to walk forward with your power, with your head held high and your shoulders back, confident in who you are, as a light being in a body, as a star being, as a galactic, right? The time has come for us to carve a new trajectory. And what we're carving into, we're carving out of as well. So as we're carving a new trajectory, we're carving out a lot of stuff out of our own reality as well, and our own internal design, from the old Earth blueprints and the old Earth templates and the old Earth gridding systems. So we just keep clearing the cellular divide. We keep clearing all the false evidence appearing real. We clear all the stories, and we come back into the heart, where we approach one another and the reality as love, and we also approach ourselves as love again, as that unified love that's really appreciative of who we're at, where we've been, and where we're going to. And it's that really great appreciation that's going to humble us to accept gratitude into our life again. And that humility is going to bring in a whole new design and a whole new pathway and a whole new purpose for us, because it really is a simplified nature. And that's where we come back to that ease and grace, and of that joy is in the simplicity. And yes, the simplicity will expand from there, right? It will get more and more higher mind consciousness, right? Because that's a part of creator consciousness that we're awakening to. But it really is returning to simplicity right now. Returning to simplicity and forgiveness, because it's those simple things in life that matter. And those are the things that we're learning to love the most. And that's the one thing that Gaia is very much so helping us with, is all the distraction, all the complications, returning to ease, joy, grace, simplicity, a simple life, a simple, easy, abundant, and joyous life, right? And as a result, we have to forgive a lot of things to arrive at that trajectory, individually and collective, because those realities require a lot of hope, and we have to have a lot of doubt leave so we can hold on to a lot of hope. Okay? Love you guys. Much love and respect to everyone out there. Thank you to everyone for doing what you're doing, for witnessing what you're witnessing, for being what you're being, right? And allowing yourself to be brave and to be bold and to be beautiful in the future timelines that are opening up for ourselves right now, right? Keep clearing the body, keep clearing the mind, keep clearing the vessel, and keep gifting yourself an opportunity to receive more and more light, more and more joy, and don't let yourself be punished or feel punished for who you are today. Take a moment to relax and to say out loud, I'm free to be me. I'm free to be me. I love you. I'll see you guys soon.